Anyway, salute to my unit live and my replay unit. Again, sorry for the issues on the tube. Hopefully you guys got a good picture and decent audio because, again, the tube is having problems. I can't fix any of it. On the main screen, I'm totally locked out of that. Audio-wise, I can't do anything. I fixed everything on my end, so hopefully it's not crackling too much. But hopefully you guys stick with BC because I got more topics I want to get into. More good discussion, and I just made a fresh Folger, so hopefully this is listenable, if not watchable. Hey, Sir Charles, what up, dude? James from Fajitas is up in here. JJ Bulldog, Ty Mellon, salute. Marie's up in here too. Santivia, Eric Leno. Actually, before I get into Johnny Gargano in the broken tag team division, let me give a shout out over to a couple of super chats. I want to talk Ron C23, man, with that 2-spot super chat coffee. BC, let's get amplified. How's that, Ron C23? And I'll give you a Charlotte Flair. I know that's your fave. Woo! Now that really broke the audio. Ron C23. Salute, bro. Hopefully you had a kick-ass weekend, man. Thanks for starting your week off with BC, Ron C23. Hopefully it's a good SummerSlam week leading up. Hope to be live with you guys Saturday night for the actual event. Ariel Cortez. 5-spot super chat coffee. Ariel. Appreciate you, man. Not much. Just a coffee to say thanks for keeping me entertained while at work. Keep rocking BC with the bicep emoji. Just a thank you for keeping me entertained while at work. Keep rocking BC and much love. Ariel Cortez. Salute, man. I appreciate the coffee. Never needed, always appreciated. Let's BC know I'm appreciated even when the YouTube does not appreciate BC. The platform thinks I'm too controversial. I won't take Liv Morgan's booty off the thumbnail. Ariel Cortez, I appreciate the appreciation. How's that? Salute, Ariel. I'm glad I can entertain you even when you're on the grind at work, man. Hopefully you're not listening to BC more than the boss. Otherwise, the boss is going to release you, Ariel. Appreciate you big time. Appreciate the super chats, guys. Johnny Gargano. Let's talk Johnny Gargano. Talking about a broken WWE tag division. Johnny Gargano says the following, and I quote, "Being WWE tag team champions, there's so much lineage in those titles. We're not happy just being champions. We want to take the tag team division to new heights." I like that, by the way. We're not happy just being champions. That's the right mindset by Gargano. He says we want to take the tag team division to new heights. We believe in tag team wrestling. We believe in the tag team division, and we firmly do believe as champions we can take this thing to a whole nother level. He says if we get the opportunity, we can take this to a whole nother level, the tag division, if we get the opportunity. He literally said those words, and it's heart-wrenching, right? Because he knows. He knows. Whether you love Hunter Hearst Helmsley or not, doesn't matter. We all know what's going to happen here. Hunter Hearst Helmsley is not going to give DIY the opportunity to make that division relevant. Nobody's going to get it. That tag team division it has not been relevant in years, sadly. The tag team division is nearly non-existent, and that's with 2 different sets of tag titles, by the way. Nearly non-existent. So when you know Johnny Gargano and Tommaso's work ethic, you know they mean every word they're saying. They truly want to be the best of the best, put the division on their backs, make an actual prestigious, reputable division, finally, if given the opportunity, he says. They're not going to get it, guys. They're just not going to get it. Let's just do a little bit of a history lesson, right? Just on some of the stats that I have in front of me upon my homework, my research. The WWE tag title was introduced in 2016, right? Or at least the latest variation of the SmackDown Championship. So the WWE tag team title that was introduced in 2016. Let's just take that title. Slater and Rhino were the inaugural champions. You guys remember Slater and Rhino defeated the Usos. So this was back in 2016. Now, ever since then, 32 separate title reigns in those short 8 years. 32 reigns, 8 years is an average of new champions basically every 3 months. Every 3 months. Now, if you go to the World Tag Championships, at least this current variation of the World Tag Championships, that's from 2002. So we're just going back to this variation, 2002 to 2024. That is 94 title reigns in 22 years. That is a new reign in less than every 3 months. Just over 2.5 months, there's a new set of champions for 22 years in a row. Guys, you can't have a prestigious division if you're changing the titles every 2.5 months. You can't do it. Even if you're one of those individuals that thinks that everything gets stale after a month or two. I get it. I hear you. But the only way you can build something is to have prestige. The only way to have prestige is to subconsciously place in your fans' dome pieces that this person is a legit champion. That's it, guys. That's the only way. I'm not saying every set of champions has to be champion for a year. That's not what I'm saying. But there's times, every now and again, champions have to hold the title for a long time. Doesn't have to be a Roman Reigns 3-year title reign. Every champion doesn't have to be champ for 9 months to a year. But every now and again, you have to have 6 months here, 9 months here. Yes, a full year here. It's been 22 years. And every 2.5 months, there's basically a new champion. And on the other sets of titles, because there's 2 sets, which is greatly hurting the tag team division, by the way. On the other set, it's also every 3 months. Because you have, 8 years, 32 title reigns. So if you add them all together, guys, you had 96, 106, 126 new sets of tag title holders in 22 years. 126 new sets of champions in just over 2 decades. That's a lot. That's a lot. And if you wonder why there's not prestige in the tag division, A, it's the booking. That's first and foremost. And B, a close second, is the fact that there's no reason to subconsciously believe there's prestige. And if there's no reason to subconsciously believe that there's prestige, then upfront conscious is going to tell you, check you, deuces, ooses. Nobody's going to care about the tag division. Hope you guys are keeping track. Hopefully the audio is keeping up enough for you guys to hear most of this. Because that's the problem. There's no care in these champions. They don't know what they're doing by the day. They make these decisions by the moment. Honestly, that's how you're getting tagged. The women are no better. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair won the titles at Mania just a few months ago. Guys, they already lost it last month to Alba and Isla, who were at catering eating triple-layered moose cake since they debuted on the main roster. And they beat Cargill and Belair. And it looks like the titles are going right back to them Saturday or maybe this Friday. Who knows if they'll even put the ladies on SummerSlam? Who knows if any of the tag titles are going to be defended at SummerSlam? Chat, is there even an announcement? There's 3 sets of tag titles in WWE. 3 sets of tag team title gold. And SummerSlam is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 days away. Is there even a tag title match set for SummerSlam? Somebody let me know, please. Is one of the 3 tag titles going to be on SummerSlam? Because I bet you they're not. I would not be shocked if 5 days away from SummerSlam, Hunter Hearst Helmsley has no plans to have tag titles on the second biggest event of the year. And then you wonder why they're not prestigious? I could be wrong. Maybe there's one, but I can't recall one match being announced. You guys are telling me no. So you guys are telling me not one tag title is going to be at SummerSlam. You're telling me that one, possibly even 2 tag title matches, probably the women and the SmackDown, I still call them the SmackDown titles, they're going to be Friday night, not at SummerSlam. Well, there you go. That just proves my point. How can you have prestige if the company takes a shit on them? The company laughs at the tag division. Oh, that's adorable. You're a tag team. Look at DIY. Look at you. Pinch your cheeks. You're so cute. Get over there with your tag title. We're going to give you a tag title match on Monday Night Raw in a few weeks. Who's the champions on SmackDown? Come here, Theory and Waller. Mr. 3H's. They're not the title holders anymore. Remember, Austin Theory and Waller, they lost the titles. Who's the champions? I have no idea. That's a good question. But that's who DIY, I think, took them from. Then who's the Raw title holder? Wasn't it the Judgment Day? I don't know. I just booked this. You don't even know who it is anymore. I literally just thought DIY was Monday nights. I believe DIY is Friday nights. I can't even keep track. I can't even. Judgment Day beat Miz and R-Truth. Miz and R-Truth just won the titles at Mania. They don't even have them anymore. They lost them weeks ago. Cargill and Belair just won them at Mania. They lost them a month ago. Theory and Waller won them at WrestleMania. They lost them weeks ago. Like, what do we... And then you wonder, and that's why this poor guy Gargano says, we really want to make this relevant, but if we're given the opportunity, he knows he had to throw that in there. As much as he may respect Hunter Hearst Helmsley, as much as Helmsley may like Gargano and Ciampa, but by their booking, it doesn't look it anymore. Looks like Helmsley has completely just gave up on him. The way they've been booked the last year and a half under Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and then just thrown tag titles where everybody basically just goes to die, the tag team division. But maybe they love each other. But I'll tell you this, he has to add in the words. He has to add in the words, if we're giving the opportunity, because sadly, nobody in this tag division is going to get an opportunity. Let's just call it what it is. 100 on the ups, man. I appreciate that. Through the YouTube issues and the audio and everything. Still appreciate you guys big time. Over 100. That's badass. I want to give a shout out to, I don't think she's in here now, but Rachel Rocca. On one of the last live streams, right when we were closing up, I missed a member super chat, a channel member for, I believe, the full 19 months. So, Rachel, I caught that later. So, Rachel, when you catch this, I believe you're going to be part of the replay unit. I appreciate you big time. I appreciate the coffees being thrown every month on that channel membership. Rachel, thank you. I missed it at the time, but I remembered. So listen, guys, the tag team division used to be fun when I was growing up anyway. You had the Demolition, Legion of Doom, Road Warriors, Rockers, Hart Foundation. Even if you were bums like the mid-card tag teams, they were at least fun. Bushwhackers, Beverly Brothers, Fabulous Rougeaus. You know, there was a lot of fun. And now, I can't even tell you, half these tag teams beyond irrelevant. And the division has no booking that is consistent or fun. 3 sets of tag title holders, guys. 3 sets of tag team champions. And they're all not going to be at SummerSlam. Can you fathom that? Your title holders are not going to be at SummerSlam? Natural disasters. Yes. Earthquake and typhoon. And they just look like a tag team. They felt like a tag team. They were booked like a legit tag team. Pretty cool, man. Let me move on. Let me go over to Brock Lesnar, man. Now, Meltzy boy, let me talk about David Meltzer for a second. Because I'm actually not going to throw shade on him right now. Because David Meltzer, for a lot of younger fans, back in the day, the dude had people that were talking to him. Dave Meltzer had some scoops, believe it or not. David Meltzer was just one of those, he was one of the only dudes that you would have to go to for a scoop. Nowadays, it looks like he burned so many bridges or something. It looks like he's got nobody in WWE that talks to him. In all honesty, guys, I believe BC has a lot more people in WWE that give me scoops than Meltzer gets. And that's sad. But nowadays, the things coming out of Meltzer's camp is just like, he just says one thing and totally contradicts it, and then everybody runs off with it like it's news. It's like this guy can come out and go, I think the sun is going to shine bright tomorrow, but there's also a chance a cloud could come and cover the sun. And people will run with that scoop. Meltzer says the sun is going to shine bright, but he also says there's a chance a cloud could come around. Well, thanks, man. You don't need a meteorologist. You don't need a rocket scientist. Pretty sure any preschooler could tell you that. If Meltsy Boy says, I'm going to this new restaurant for breakfast, there's a good chance it's going to sell French toast. But there's also a good chance it doesn't sell French toast. Could just be waffles and pancakes. The story. French toast will be served at new breakfast location. But if you read the fine print, he also says there's a chance French toast might not be sold. So now with Brock Lesnar, Meltsy states, I'm hearing that lawyers have to approve Brock Lesnar's return. And right now they're not fond of that. But Meltzer says there's a chance that they could talk and approve Brock Lesnar. Well, thank you. Thank you, Meltsy. Thanks, dude. It's that type of epic reporting that keeps the pro wrestling world alive on all their scoops and news. Brock may not get approved, but there's a chance they could talk and they could approve Brock. Where's the news? What are you saying? Of course, we already know what could and couldn't happen. We know what may and may not happen. We know all that. We know the possibilities. How is this breaking news? How are you telling us a scoop? Just tell everybody you're giving your opinion. You're giving your thoughts on the situation. That's fine. Don't say it's an update on Lesnar. So BC's going to give you an actual update on Brock Lesnar. How's that? So BC's going to... So you're saying there's a chance. That's great. So this is actual news. This is like legit. This is what Hunter Hearst Helmsley recently said about Brock Lesnar. Doesn't sound like there's anything to do with lawyers anymore. He's listed right on the roster page. He's just part of the free agents with Omos and MVP. MVP is leaving next week. It's just going to be Omos and Brock. But this is what Hunter Hearst Helmsley says, and I quote, "You'd have to ask Brock Lesnar about returning. Brock does his own thing." And this was recently, just in the last 48 hours. Brock does his own thing. So he's up in Canada, I'm sure, watching his kids play hockey and is just enjoying life. If and when he decides he would like to do something, we'd be open to the conversation. End quote. I'm going to repeat some of that. Hunter Hearst Helmsley said, you have to ask Brock. He's not back, not because of us. If you want to know when Brock's coming back, ask Brock. He says he's up in Canada, probably. Brock does his own thing. He's probably enjoying his life, watching his kids up on the farm, milking some cows. Who the hell knows? Riding a horse. If and when he wants to do something, of course we're open for the conversation. So it sounds like the ball is totally in Brock's court. And to add to that, what I am being told is Netflix is grabbing Brock Lesnar with The Rock and with John Cena and the appearance from The Undertaker. Netflix. And it's not just going to be a one and done, like the big, like the homecoming of Raw on Netflix, the big premiere, one episode. They want a ton of top tier talent to be a launch for them for months leading into Mania, you got to believe. So Brock Lesnar, I'm hearing that Lesnar will be a part of Netflix's Monday Night Raw move. Not confirmed, but it's a lot more valid news of substance than Meltsy can give you on this situation. But Hunter Hearst Helmsley is stating it's on Brock right now. There's no legal stoppage on Brock is what he's telling you. And there isn't. If you guys look at the research or do just jump into the history, Brock Lesnar is not in any trouble. He was named as somebody that Vince was going to pass a girl onto, and Brock never met up with her. Just never did. Safe. As long as they never made up, guess what? Or met up, guess what? All good. Brock is good. Legally, he's good. Brock didn't do anything. Now, you could say morally, right? You could say morally Brock Lesnar is an idiot. Morally, Brock Lesnar is you can call him a scumbag if you want. That's your prerogative. That's your prerogative. But legally, there's no reason to block Brock. Based on the evidence, there's nothing. Brock didn't do anything, guys. A lot of people think he's just totally banished. We did believe that at first until the facts came out. Everything we've seen and heard is that Brock never met up with Vince's side chick. Never. So it's not one of those situations where it's WWE holding back Brock, it looks like. And I got to believe that what I'm hearing is going to come to fruition. Netflix is going to grab Brock Lesnar. Going to be huge. Speaking of the opposite of Brock Lesnar for the females, Ronda Rousey is pregnant again. So we wish her the best, even though she's become bitter to a lot of the pro wrestling world, at least WWE. We wish her the best. She's always wanted to start that family. She already had, I believe, one kid. So anybody that thought Ronda's coming back to WWE one day soon, that's not going to happen now, man. You got to go through the 9 months and then obviously the post-pregnancy. I mean, if Ronda was ever to come back to WWE, which I doubt anyway, I really do doubt that. She has burned so many bridges. But if she ever was to, it's going to be a couple of years, guys. So, we'll see. I don't know. What do you guys think? Ronda Rousey, man. She's going to be doing a thing with Netflix. She's got another memoir book coming out. So she's still going to be talking a lot about pro wrestling. We'll see, man. Yeah, happy for Ronda. Yep. Going off. Interesting. Can't see WWE needing her. Yeah, no. She got really, she spoke on a lot of just, there's one thing of just stating your experience, and then there's another to burn a lot of bridges and just say a lot of things where a lot of your friends or people that were nice to you there, you're actually shitting on them. That's what CM Punk did when he first left. He started really just shitting on the industry, acting like he was better than it. And that's when a lot of BC included, I was like, dude, no, you can't do that, man. You could speak your truth. You could talk about your experience. And if it was negative, tell your story. But don't just become bitter and absolutely slam everything. And that's what she started to do with WWE. Listen, I'll be the first to say they botched her booking massively. They did not play to Ronda's strengths, and they did not hide her weaknesses. They did the opposite, actually. So I'll always say that too, man. But Ronda Rousey, yeah, she is having another child. So there's no comeback there. She has something with Netflix. She says that Netflix might be actually doing her, was it I forgot what it was. I don't even want to say a documentary. Maybe you guys know. She's doing something with Netflix. That's going to be interesting. WWE at any moment could just make that call and say, no, do not greenlight her project. Because Ronda is saying all this about WWE. They have this big debut in January. Yeah. Oh, for sure, James Shrimp Fajitas. And then we have, hold on. Make sure I got that up there. Hold on, guys. There you go. I got 3 separate screens up here trying to read the comments on that too. JJ, yes. The end anyway. Netflix is doing it, says Big Nang. I hope if they greenlit it, I don't know how that's going to work with WWE. I really don't, because they're on 2 separate sides of the spectrum and they're both going to be promoting their projects on WWE. Her book is getting adapted into a movie. That's what I heard. Okay. That's what I heard. What refusal was Netflix right now? Well, I doubt WWE is going to allow that, man, unless it's already been greenlit. Let's talk Tony Khan. Tony Khan, AEW boss, getting a lot of criticism for a chair shot at Blood and Guts. The person in question is Jack Perry, taking that chair shot to the dome piece. Unprotected chair shots is what they're called. Otherwise, you're probably thinking, oh, it's a chair shot. We see them all the time. But it's an unprotected chair shot to the dome piece. That's what the heavy criticism, that's where it's coming from And it's outside of the companies these days. You have people like Chris Nowinski, who is one of the heads at the big Boston hospital, and he was talking. He runs this whole thing about what are they, CTEs, whatever that's called, and football players and wrestlers and just anything contact sport and how it actually affects the dome piece in the future. So they work with these companies, and it's it's an unspoken rule. Just stop any shots to the dome piece. That's over, right? WWE completely stopped them. And from what Tony Khan or what Matt Hardy is saying, Tony Khan doesn't allow them, right? Matt Hardy recently said TK doesn't allow them. So that must have been a one-off, and somehow Jack Perry got it approved. Or it's just one of those went into business on his own type deals, which wouldn't be the first time. It's also not the first time that Jack Perry has been a part of a controversial situation in AEW. And it dawned on me that Jack Perry is basically becoming the new CM Punk of AEW. The stubbornness, the defiance, the attitude backstage, the I'm doing it no matter what, whether I get fired or not, I'm doing this spot. The glass was always going to be used. The second CM Punk told him, no, you're not doing it on my show, Collision, was the moment, that exact moment where Jack Perry said, oh, I'm doing it. It may not be tonight on your show, but I'm going to do it. You're going to be in the locker room. You're going to witness it. You're going to know it. But I'm using real glass. And he used real glass right before CM Punk's matchup in Wembley. He knew what he was doing. It's that defiance. It's that stubborn. It's that outlaw attitude. Little bit of arrogance, right? It's a little bit of a lot of ingredients that helped make up CM Punk back in the day. And then you fast forward to this chair shot. Again, Matt Hardy and others have said, no, unprotected chair shots to the dome piece is actually not allowed in AEW. You have to have like specific approval. It has to be heavily discussed, and it's basically like a Clorox wipe. 99.99%, it's denied, the request. But Jack Perry got it. Of all people, Jack Perry was able to get this banned unprotected chair shot to the dome piece. You have to believe that even if he was denied, he was not going to be denied. He was going to keep asking, or he was just going to make sure that it got done. Jack Perry is basically the new version, for AEW anyway, of CM Punk. I see so many similarities, to which I say, roll with it. Go with it. Eric Bischoff once said what? Controversy creates cash. If they all look at you as this outlaw, if they all look at you like, oh, you do your own thing, you can't even be contained, this, that, and the other thing, guess what? It's going to raise some eyebrows, man. When this dude comes through the curtain, if you keep doing that, when this dude comes through the curtain, people are going to care. And the truth is, and especially with AEW and the numbers that they're pulling in, unfortunately, they need people like that. Like the NWO, the group used to be, or Stone Cold, the individual used to be. You need those type of attractions. So when he comes through the curtain, you're like, oh, he's going to do anything. I mean, Tony Khan can't even control him. We're about to see anything right now because it's Jack Perry. That's what you need. If you went to Philadelphia, if you used to go watch ECW Sandman back in the day, you never knew what Sandman was going to do. His entrance alone, you never knew. He could drink 26 beers before he even got to the ring because he would come through the crowd. He'd be hitting people with kendo sticks in the crowd by accident or straight up. He'd be taking your beer and drinking it. By the time he got to the ring, whoever he was in there with, sit back and relax. Oh, there's no sitting back and relaxing when he went to ECW. You were just pretty much wild the entire 3.5 hours. But my point is, you just were in for a wild ride, but nobody was in for a wilder ride than the person that was in the ring with Sandman because he was pretty damn drunk. He was pretty damn wild. And you never knew. You need those type of people. What made CM Punk go to the next level? Because a lot of younger fans don't realize this. Before the pipe bomb in Vegas that he cut on John Cena in WWE, before that pipe bomb, CM Punk was actually a mid-carder, guys. He was just top-tier mid-card. But you guys got to go back and do the research, man. He was mid-card. That's all he was. He was never looked at as the guy, and there was never really reason to. There was an edge to him. He had a good fan base. He was a top-tier mid-carder, basically. The pipe bomb. There was a promo he did in Vegas that absolutely catapulted CM Punk's career. To this day, you still hear chants. You did not hear them like that before the pipe bomb. That's the truth. He became that. He became polarizing. Because after that night, you thought, even subconsciously, you thought, wait, this guy is going to say or do anything. This is going to be fun. Like, I have to, CM Punk's coming out. I was going to go smoke a cigarette. I was going to go make a sandwich. I was going to go to the bathroom. If you're there live, I was going to go get some popcorn and a beer. But now I'm sitting the fuck down because CM Punk's coming out. You didn't know what he was going to say or do. It became fun, right? This dude is saying things he shouldn't have, or at least WWE's going to be pissed about. They cut out his microphone. He's doing crazy shit. He took the title from John Cena. He won it, and then he left the company. He left the company. He didn't know what CM Punk was going to do. That's what made him so next level. Now, you don't have people like that, right? Or it's so forced. You know, the company is just really pushing every little thing. With Jack Perry, he's becoming this individual where the owner is going to tell him, the boss is going to tell him something. He's going to go, we'll see. And the boss is like, no, what are you talking about? I'm sending you out there live TV. We'll see. And on one hand, you're absolutely like, dude, you can't do that. That's your boss. Like, you can't be an idiot. Are you a reliability or are you a liability? So on one hand, I totally get it. On the other hand, this is where it gets tricky. It's exactly what Tony Khan needs. He needs a Jack Perry. He needs a CM Punk in AEW. And unfortunately, ironically, CM Punk was not the right fit. The actual CM Punk in AEW was just not good enough. The ratings never really tipped the scale. The pay-per-view buy rates never went to where they hoped it would go to. Too much friction in the locker room. He didn't fit in. People didn't want to listen to his BS. It was a mess. There was a couple good promos, a couple of good matchups, or at least builds to it. That's where it ended. Jack Perry, it dawned on me. With all of this controversy and who's at the center of it, besides Tony, it's Jack Perry. Jack Perry with the real glass. How dare they let him use that? Jack Perry's a liability. Jack Perry's at the center of an unprotected chair shot to the dome piece. How dare he do that? He's a liability. Jack Perry. They need to fire Jack Perry. Do they? I'm asking because I think this is exactly what Tony Khan needs right now. A Jack Perry. There just has to be a long discussion, right? You can't do anything too over the top. And you have to kind of work within the confines. But this is exactly what Stone Cold did back in the day. Stone Cold would not listen to 56% of what Vince McMahon asked him to do. Bare minimum, 56%. More than half of what Vince told Stone Cold to do, he either wouldn't do it or he would do it in his way. And the Stone Cold way was totally another whole stratosphere. But it made everybody tune in. Made everybody go, yep, that's what I want to see. So I don't know Jack Perry's ceiling if he even has one in AEW. I don't know if he's going to be a top star, larger than life. I don't know. Time will tell. But what I do know is he's always at the center of those controversies. He's got this attitude, the way he carries himself, the stubbornness, the defiance. All of this is everything that CM Punk was and everybody used to love about CM Punk. He's only in the business for himself. He's making the company look bad. He can't do that. They should fire him. You see, Jack Perry is basically AEW's new CM Punk. If you think about it in a roundabout way, but not so roundabout. Now, you guys are wondering my take on this, man. What's up, Alexander? How you doing? If you guys are wondering my take on this. Jimmy Fingers! I'll get to that in 1 second, man. What's up, Jimmy Fingers? Appreciate the super chat, man. My thoughts on the chair shot. This is the deal. If it's an actual steel chair, Absolutely not. Those things are very heavy on the trunk of it, the actual seated portion, which is what you're getting hit with. Absolutely not. Not only that, but the edging all along it is even harder. There's no reason on the planet anybody should take that, right? So you have to gimmick it. But if it's an actual steel chair, absolutely not. It's not worth it for the individual, and it's not worth it for the company, because the company becomes an instant liability, right? The company now, because now that one chair shot, in 20 years, you could have Jack Perry go, oh, I remember when I would take those chair shots in AEW, and Tony Khan looks bad. So the company becomes a liability, but for the individual, absolutely not. But if it's a gimmick chair, right? If it's a stunt chair, which they do have, it's not as heavy in the trunk. It's basically, I mean, it's like taking those dollar store pans. You know those little pans you put like a pasta salad in? They're flimsy, but they look, right? They look like it's steel. Right? If you ever like played around with your siblings wrestling, you would hit each other over the dome piece with that. The sound of it was awesome. It didn't hurt that much because it was flimsy. But the sound of it, you would have thought you just got knocked out. Right? So you use a gimmick chair. Then it's fair game. These are wrestlers performing major stunts. If these professionals feel the dome piece needs to be utilized, let these professional wrestlers perform their art. Maybe they feel in a match like blood and guts, like a chair shot is needed to the dome piece. Let the performers perform their art. Again, the company has to come in and say, we'll let you do that, but we have to gimmick this up. There's no way we can let you use an actual steel chair because, guys, there has to be safety measures implemented. There has to be. Just the way it is ever since the Chris Benoit sitch. Because as much as you want to forget about it, that Benoit sitch did happen. And because of that, everybody has to get better, right? Just what happens. When Dale Earnhardt Sr. went into the wall at the Daytona 500 more than 20 years ago, they had to improve safety measures. When they found out in the NFL how many people were getting the post-concussion issues and the CTEs, they had to make those helmets much more safer. When Chris Benoit went rogue and did what he did, they had to stop things like chair shots to the dome piece. It's just the way that the world is today. And the days of Mick Foley taking 15 shots to the dome piece via The Rock, for instance, in the I Quit match, those days are done. On one hand, it is sad, yes, because damn, that was epic. You'd never see anything like that at that point, man. You'll never see anything like that again. Thankfully, you say. But if it's a gimmick chair, and it's done professionally with professionals, you know, you can't hold their hand either through life. At times, grown-ups are going to have to be grown-ups. You live once. You gotta have some freedoms. Your boss has to allow you to have those freedoms. So there's a compromise. But no boss who runs professional wrestling should take an actual steel chair and allow their talents to use it. I am absolutely against that because now we know it leads to a lot of issues in the future. We know this by proof. It's not worth it for the company or the individual. So just don't do it. But if you're going to stunt it, if you're going to gimmick it, I'm absolutely for it. Just because the illusion is he got hit with a steel, even though it's not steel, but a chair shot to the dome piece. Just the optics of it is what the companies don't like. That's why you don't even see gimmick chairs to the dome piece anymore, guys. It's because the companies don't even want the optics of it. Screw that. You're professional wrestling. It's a match called Blood and Guts, or you're in Hell in a Cell. If it's a gimmick, tough shit. The parent's job is to tell the kids afterwards, if you see your kid running around with a steel chair, it's your job as the parent to stop them and say, no, what you saw in wrestling is not an actual steel chair. So no, you can't use this, little Jimmy. And then R-Truth will have to go about his day and know that little Jimmy is no longer using a real steel chair. But that's not professional wrestling's, it's not their job to be the parent of your kid. The dome piece is going to be affected in pro wrestling at times, man. It's going to happen. You use one of those little flimsy gimmick chairs if you're going to have to take a dome piece shot. That's it. Play within the confines. Look at the tables these days. Do you guys see the tables that they use? Those are called gimmick tables. Those are not the tables you would buy at Lowe's or Home Depot, right? That you would think would hold an entire buffet if you're throwing the picnic at the local park. You could put a whole buffet on these wooden tables. But a WWE table, you see how gently you have to place somebody on it? They have to carefully. You're in the middle of a wrestling match and you have to carefully place them on there because at any moment it could break without a move. It's so flimsy. The wood is literally about maybe, a pen is too thick. It's thinner than that. It's like my coaster. This is too thick. It's a coaster. Here, take this coaster. How's this? That's it. That's the table, guys. That's the table. How many times have we seen wrestlers get set up and they fall through the table before a move even happens? That's embarrassing. It's a gimmick. I'm fine with it. It's just a gimmick. Nobody's asking you to go through a real Lowe's table where you're going to get all these freaking sharp wooden objects through your back when you go through it. Nobody's asking you to do that. Sabu into Raven and ECW. No. We're not asking that. Oh, I got them all. Julie, I got them all because I have so many things. I got Dunkin's cream and sugar. I got the coffees. I got Clearly Canadians. I got water bottles. So I got like the flat ones. Each one does a separate purpose. I got the flat ones. I have the raised ones for the actual cups. See how there's a difference? I got the big ones too. You guys want to see the Big Daddy? Check this motherfucker out. This is when I have multiple coffees at once. Look at that motherfucker, huh? I'm gonna fuck you up. You ain't gonna do nothing, man. My size does not affect what I do in this world. Oh yeah? I'm gonna whoop ya. You ain't gonna do nothing. Paul Levesque McMahon Hunter Hearst Helmsley says I'm gonna be a champion. Well, Vincent Kennedy says the bigger men are gonna win. Ah! Fuck you! Nah! It broke! Oh no! His career is done. Oh well. Let's hear it for Mr. Big Daddy. Big Coaster wins. Man, that coaster, that was a 4-year veteran that just got broken in half by the Big Daddy over here, man. The Big Coaster. Anyway. Salute. Unit. You never know when we're live, guys. You never know when we're live. Oh, man. So that's the chair shot to the dome piece and Jack Perry and Tony Khan's receiving a lot of criticism. And he's going to continue. You know, a lot of people are like, you can't do that. Knowing what we know now, knowing what wrestlers have done because of what we believe shots to the dome piece. You guys are too funny, man. Knowing that you just can't do it. But if it is a gimmick, it's not done all the time. It's in the right situations. I really don't have a problem with it. It just has to be a gimmick chair. So I don't know. According to Matt Hardy, it's not allowed in AEW, unprotected chair shots. So again, this was Jack Perry either going rogue or he got full permission. But I say you run with this. Jack Perry could be something that finally fans are like, okay, I got to stop I got to see what Jack Perry's going to do. And that's what this company needs. Monday Night Raw's preview. This is 7/29/24. Guys, this is the go-home show to SummerSlam. SummerSlam is in 5 nights. Hard to believe, right? 5 nights is SummerSlam. The preview for tonight, Sethington Rollins is going to give CM Punk and Drew Mack referee instructions tonight. What? I'm pretty sure CM Punk knows what a referee does. I'm pretty sure that Drew McIntyre knows what a ref does. Or is he going to establish his own Sethington rules? I think that would be a nice twist. Maybe Seth is going to add his own rules into this, make this unique. I'm not a fan of Seth a third wheel in this match, but it is what it is. It's the decision this company is going for. So that's what we're doing. Sethington Rollins is going to give his referee rules to CM Punk and Drew tonight. The Creed brothers are going to take on Tozawa and Otis. Why? I thought they just started a storyline. Gable just recruited the Creed brothers, and his old faction was Tozawa and Otis. So instead of having them wrestle immediately, why not build a storyline in a feud? This is what we do all the time. We start a story, and they're automatically fighting the next show the next week. And then we do this nonstop, right? You're going to see them face each other in different ways. 1-on-1s, 2-on-2s, triple threats. You're going to start to see all these, or triple threats, 6-man tags. And they're going to try to sell you that that's the story. The story is they wrestle all the time. There's so much animosity, right? They wrestle every week. See, that's a storyline. That's not a storyline. That's not a storyline at all. That is redundancy. Why not build a real story with the Creeds and Tozawa and Otis? And then, when it's time at a big event, maybe a PLE, what a crazy concept. When it's time for a big event, that's when you do Otis and Tozawa versus the Creed brothers. But they just started it last week, and already we're getting this tag match. JR9, we're already doing the payoff. This is the big thing. Otis turned on Gable, which was half-assed done, by the way. That should have been a way bigger moment. Do you guys remember for weeks we were saying when Otis turns on Gable, it's going to be huge? Guys, all he did was shove Gable, and that's it. Gable went and found the Creeds, which we thought was going to happen. Last week, they beat up Otis and Tozawa, and this week, they're already having a match. So we're already getting the payoff. You can do nothing more going forward but have the same tag matches. That's it. So tonight, Creeds, Tozawa, and Otis. Then you have Balor and Gunther. I'm guessing that's going to be the match of the night. We'll see. Last week, we thought Sami Zayn and Dragunov was going to be. That was not as good, not nearly as good as it could have been. And then, of course, Dragunov just taking or Breaker, I should say, right? Breaker and Dragunov. But then Sami and Dragunov was also not as good as it should have been. So, I don't know. Balor and Gunther should be the match of the night. And it's a good gateway to get to Damian Priest Gunther at Saturday's SummerSlam. And then you have Bronson Reed and Sheamus. Bronson Reed and Sheamus. Didn't we just see that a week or two ago? 2 weeks ago. Correct? JR9, was that 2 weeks ago? I want to say last week, but I think it was 2 weeks. But my point is, what are we doing, man? We just did Sheamus and Bronson Reed. Back then, 2 weeks ago, nobody needed to see it. Why would we need to see Bronson and Sheamus again? Where's the fun in this, man? 2 weeks ago, okay. So why would we need to see this 2 weeks later for no reason whatsoever? PD Dunne and Sheamus have a beef now, and Bronson has to keep on facing Sheamus. And what happens tonight, by the way? Does Bronson beat Sheamus? Maybe PD Dunne? PD Dunne interferes, and that's how Bronson wins, so now Sheamus has a victory, Bronson has a victory, and now we have to see Sheamus and Bronson for a third time! A rubber match! It's repetitive. I mean, come on. We used to always call out Vincent Kennedy for this. You guys know that. Well, we have to put the same on Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Sheamus and Bronson 2 times in 2 weeks. Come on, man. Nobody needs to do that in their prime time. They could be watching the Olympics. They could be watching paint dry or water boil. Pick up a bad habit. Start smoking or something. Throw yourself into heavy traffic or through a brick wall. I don't know many people that are going to go, what are you doing tonight? I'm going to watch Sheamus and Bronson Reed tonight. Well, that sounds like an entire night. You're going to order from Domino's and have some cake afterwards? Of course I am. It's a party. It's Sheamus versus Bronson. That's a whole night planned right there. And again, this is because of the Olympics, the aforementioned Olympics. It is going to be on Sci-Fi tonight, guys. Not the USA Network. It'll be on Sci-Fi, SummerSlam's go-home show. That is not good for WWE. Your go-home show and you're booted to Sci-Fi. You were already only getting 1.6 to 1.7 in the ratings. And now you'll be lucky if you pull 1.3, 1.4. You'll act like you just robbed a bank. If they can pull a 1.3, 1.4 this week, it'll be like robbing a bank, man, if you're WWE. Let me go over to, yes, hold on. Let me get that super chat back up. Jimmy Fingers 19. Did I get Ray Hunt, by the way? Oh, no, hold on. There was a membership. I think it was Ray Hunt. Yeah, Ray Hunt, 18-month gold team, channel membership. Ray Hunt says, thank God for BC. These people at work about to about ready to have me powerbomb them through a table. Ray Hunt, it's one of those days on the grind, man. Well, I'm glad that I can help out even in an entertainment way, man. I'm glad I could be a little bit of a distraction. Don't actually powerbomb anybody. At least not today. We're 5 days away from SummerSlam. You want to be out of the clink for that. Ray Hunt, I appreciate you, man. Here's to another 18 months. Kick ass on the grind. Make that money. And whoop that ass. I appreciate you big time. At work, Ray Hunt showing that love, man. Salute. Appreciate you, man. Ray Hunt. I know how that is, dude. I want to give a shout out over to... Oh, well, let me get that on the bigger screen. Hold on. A couple of super chats just came in. I want to give a shout out to Jimmy Fingers 19. 1019. I love that. 1019 from Jimmy Fingers 19. Salute, bro, before I read that. Jimmy Fingers 19. Let's see. Hold on. Let me enlarge that. Big screen, please. There it is. Jimmy Fingers 19 says, great insight on Perry, BC. CM Punk was never an imposing guy without the defiance. What is Perry without that? He is Luke Perry's entitled son who carried Marco Stunt on his shoulders. Boring. Capital letters. Jimmy Fingers 19. Nailed it. Nailed it, man. Absolutely. He was always going to be the dude with the catchy theme song from the 80s. Oh, 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 oh. And I like Jack Perry, by the way. That's not even shade. I'm giving him the ultimate praise right now, actually. If they kept going with this, he could be something huge in this company. So I'm giving Jack Perry the ultimate praise. But that's what he was going to be. Like Jimmy Fingers 19 said, carrying Stunt on his shoulders. He was always just going to be known as Luke Perry's son. I still can't look at the dude and not think Luke Perry, Dylan 90210. And he was always going to be mid-card average AF. It's just the way it was going to be, man. That's not a diss or shade. If you don't put the damn catchy theme song, was anybody even really going to care for as long as they did? But this defiance, this type of attitude, this type of stubbornness, this type of I heard you, but I can't promise you I'm going to do it. That is what might propel people's interest. And when that happens, you have something magical happening. Anyway, I can elaborate that another hour. Yes, but perfectly said. Expanding that, Jimmy Fingers 19. Perfectly said. Appreciate you, man. Glad you caught this, Jimmy Fingers 19. Strict Tango, 2-spot coffee. BC, I think Camille Beth can challenge Jade Belair. Didn't Camille just show up to AEW? Is that who we're talking about? Hold on. Which Camille are we talking? Are we talking AEW? Who was that? Strict Tango? Strict Tango. And Beth Phoenix, right? Because if you're talking about Beth Phoenix, she might be going to AEW. Her contract, her Legends deal has ran out with the WWE. They chose not to re-sign Beth Phoenix to the Legends deal. So she is free now. Beth Phoenix can actually join Adam Copeland when he returns. And I've always wanted to see some mixed tag matches with them. I've always wanted to see Beth Phoenix continue to whoop that ass. She is still so damn good. Her physique is still solid, better than 99.99% of the wrestlers today, the females. She can still go in the ring. There is no reason under the sun that we don't see more from Beth Phoenix. Hunter Hearst Helmsley just didn't want to give her more. I hope Tony Khan does. But as far as, yeah, Camille came from NWA, yeah, to join Mercedes. Yeah, and that was a big talking point this week. So if you're talking what we think Beth Phoenix is going to go to AEW, so she will be in AEW with Camille. And if that's the case, you're saying I think Camille and Beth can challenge Jade and Belair. Beth Phoenix can challenge anybody and come out the winner. So that's absolutely correct. Then you add Camille on top of that. I'm not going to argue that that's not true, Strict Tango. There's truth to that. That's absolutely, if that was to happen, there would be no way the next day during the review that I could sit in front of this camera and say that was a BS decision. It's not realistic. No, I would absolutely go, that's an interesting booking decision, but more than realistic. But you would have to come up with the perfect tandem, though, right? It can't just be any two individuals because you're talking Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. I mean, think about them, guys. If you just close your eyes for a second and think Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, ain't nobody beating them. You'd have to put the right twosome together. Because just having Beth Phoenix, you have to have more. It has to be somebody that complements her strengths and absolutely adds on to Beth's weaknesses. For instance, as much as I love the gal, you can't just put Kairi Sane with Beth. That's not going to work. I'm not even sure that Bayley and Beth can beat Bianca and Jade. Just based on but all of that's kind of, is it any more the case, right? I don't know if that's even the case anymore. That's how we used to talk about Jade and Bianca. But what happened at Money in the Bank? Or is it the Clash at the Castle? The Castle. With Isla and Elba, I mean, Bianca and Jade look so average that I don't even know if I can speak to that anymore because Hunter Hearst Helmsley's booking absolutely wrecked them on that night. So now people are just going back to talking about how green Jade Cargill is. And if that's the case, you put Bayley with Beth Phoenix, Jade Cargill doesn't stand a chance no matter who's her tag team partner. So in that aspect, that was always the twosome. Demonte Ty Drew in the chat, man. Natty and Beth, I don't know how you botch that and don't put them together. I really don't. You never had anything for Natty anyway. You never wanted to use Beth Phoenix, so why not put Natty with Beth Phoenix? But then again, back then, you guys got to remember, they didn't put any tag team division together for the women. So I guess that was what they were thinking. There is no division. Who was that? Strict Tango. Yeah, interesting duo, though, man. Mercedes Moné. Jonathan Coachman. You guys see what he said recently about Moné. Coachman said no shade, but I mean Moné just doesn't do it. Her ego. Now this was a channel founded upon people like Bray Wyatt and Mercedes, Sasha Banks. So you guys know how I feel about Mercedes Moné, but Jonathan Coachman has added his name to a long list of people that just feel that she's overrated and that her ego is larger than her skill set. On the microphone, it is absolutely repulsive. I mean, that's basically what Jonathan Coachman is saying. And these are the criticisms we've heard all the time about Mercedes. And they're saying that that's the reason the AEW crowd has already turned on her. It has it's nothing to do with her turning heel. There was going to be no choice. The crowd was going to become bored and turn on her first. And that's why they were saying, shut the fuck up when Mercedes was cutting that promo a couple weeks ago. I never bought into the concept that her promos is what's holding her back. Never. Because 99% of everybody's roster, Tony Khan's, Hunter Hearst Helmsley's, they can't cut promos good. They just don't do good promos, guys. Doesn't matter if Tozawa's on the microphone or Ricochet or Bronson Reed, P.D. Dunne or Tyler Bate. The promo work is going to lack massively. It doesn't matter if you have Charlie Flair talking like this, and I am the queen, and that is what you're going to get at SummerSlam. I mean, that's nauseating to a lot of fans. Just hearing Charlotte say the same thing in the same tone all the time. Or Io and Asuka just screaming Japanese. Right? It was Asuka's gimmick, then Asuka went on the shelf, and then Hunter had Io do that for like 4 straight weeks. Just scream Japanese. That's not you're gonna give people a headache, man. You can't just scream Japanese for fucking 5 minutes for 4 weeks. So a lot of people would say that why is just Sasha Banks, Mercedes getting that criticism? I never bought into just the promo for somebody like Mercedes. The ego thing, that's another whole story, right? You could easily say that she's difficult backstage. You could say that. There's been stories, I get it. Some reputable, some absolutely fact-based. But you can also look at it as somebody who never quite got her due, and she's gotten so damn upset because she knows how damn good she is, and she just gets passed over. Right? Like somebody like Mercedes and Charlotte Flair. How does Charlotte have 12 to 14 titles if you include NXT or whatever it is? 12 to 14, and Sasha Banks had 6. 3 of those were just to give them back to Charlie, right? So that was just to play hot potato. So technically, Sasha's 6 is only 3. 3 to 12 to 14. You're not telling me Charlotte's that much better. And she's sure as hell not better on the microphone to the point where she gets 12 more championships. That's BS. So over the years, she started to get more of this outlook. Like, dude, ain't nobody else is going to give me anything. I know my worth. I know how good I am. But there's a lot of people that just, they don't see the value in Mercedes. And that's one thing in WWE. It's such a big pond that she still knows she knows who she is. And whether WWE sees it or not, the fans are seeing it, right? And in that big pond, you can kind of hide that. In a little pond, this type of talk it's amplified. And it's almost like her value is diminishing in AEW, even though her first couple of matches, she won 2 championships. But I feel like a lot of people are turning their backs on Mercedes, or at least if they didn't like her already, they're kind of like, yeah, I really don't need to see her now. And now you have people like Jonathan Coachman even coming out and going, yeah, this, I don't know what it is, but she just doesn't do it. I think Bischoff was saying the same thing, right? When she gets on the microphone, I just got to turn the TV off. I feel it's much more easier to jump on the bash Monet bandwagon. How do you guys feel about it, chat? Honestly. Like, this version of Mercedes Moné, do you care? Or do you just not care what she's doing right now? And is that her fault, or is that just the AEW product? I ask you guys, because it's interesting how much it's interesting. I just wish AEW was doing a lot better today, and then Mercedes would have a bigger stage to perform on, and I think this would be a better experience for her. I'm looking forward to Britt Baker versus Moné, by the way. But it just seems like even AEW fans are just like, I'm not feeling Mercedes. Ty Mel, I think that's the general consensus. I think that's one of the best answers right there. A lot of people are just mixed. I'm always going to see the value in her. This is always going to be a channel based on people like Mercedes, but something is off for sure. And it might just be the product itself as a whole. Eric Leno just said the same thing. I'm not sure how to feel about her anymore. Used to like her a lot. It's interesting, right? It's all in the aspect to which it is being transferred to us, right? And what I mean by that is, like, were people in love with the Sasha Banks persona and the name and the flair that she brought to that product, right? Was that what drew people to Banks? Does Mercedes Moné, the name alone, not carry the same weight as Sasha Banks? Sometimes it's a name alone, guys, can turn people off. The name alone. Where you could have a name like Metallica. And it's cool. And then you can have a name, whether they're a good band or not, like Goo Goo Dolls. And you might not get the same type of success because your name is the Goo Goo Dolls. Sometimes a name has a lot. Maybe Mercedes Moné is just like an easily forgettable thing. Sasha Banks became a household thing. Possibly, it could just be the name alone. The booking did not do her any favors, right? When she started, they had her just talk every other week for a month and a half up front. They had no real plan. That should have been done much. I told you guys, somebody like Moné, when she gets there, you better have a solid plan ready from the jump. Don't just go there, no plan, and for 2 months, just have her talk every now and again. Don't do that. because we've already seen that fail in AEW. Edge came over without a plan. Just do something with Christian for 3 months. That was no real plan. Edge came out, cut some promos, and they were hoping that just Edge, Adam Copeland's there. That'll bring some viewers. No, that didn't even work for CM Punk. It didn't work with a Bryan Danielson, a Mox, or any of them. A Keith Lee, a Malachi, a Buddy Matthews, Murphy, anybody, man. So with Monet, she is a big name in the industry. When she comes over, you better have something. They didn't have anything. That did not help at all. Of course I wish she was better on the microphone. I will absolutely admit that. I wish a lot of these individuals were better on the microphone. I say it all the time. I wish Ricochet was better on the microphone. I could get behind the dude more because he is wild in the ring and he does some things that make you go, ooh, ah. And then he gets on the microphone and you're like, oh yeah, he's basically a stalker at the local Home Depot. Because at least I see that dude do moonsaults and backflips off of the ladder at the very top of that Home Depot. And he lands on the toilets. That's a big leap. So anyway, guys, yeah, somebody said Julie says it's a generic boss gimmick. Like a bootleg boss gimmick. Reese Monet says the CEO gimmick is boring, to be honest. Alicia says the CEO chant is cool. Flip Flip says her booking is just awful. But I'm listening. I don't know. She's just so good in the ring, man. And I just have all of these awesome matches. I can't wait to see her have still. And Britt Baker versus Mercedes or Sasha, whatever you want to call her. I'm looking forward to that match for sure, man. I just hope the booking does get better for her. I just hope people care again. I'm going to admit this wholeheartedly to you guys, man, live. It absolutely does not feel like it once did with Sasha Banks, with Mercedes Moné. It does not feel the same way. And I don't quite, aside from the booking itself, I don't know how to correct that. I guess the best way to say this, guys, is sometimes you don't know until it happens, right? We all want the best for her, so we say, listen, get out of WWE, you know your worth. If you go to AEW, hopefully Tony Khan books you correctly or wherever you go. Sometimes, guys, people just fit better at certain places. I do believe, and I said this about Chris Jericho, I do believe that they are better suited for WWE. Whether you want to call her Sasha Banks or not, I think that Mercedes Moné works in WWE. I don't think she is a fit in AEW. I'm hoping I'm wrong because that's where she's going to be for the next 3 years up front. I'm really hoping I'm wrong. I just don't see the fit there. Even though she's an incredible wrestler that can have great wrestling matches with the referees or broomsticks in the back, a bundle of potatoes. It's not the wrestling matches that are not going to be good. I just don't know if it's the fit. Sasha Banks in WWE, it just works with every type of fan. We just wish the booking was better. Some people they fit better there, man. And vice versa. Some people are just made for AEW. I look at somebody like Mox and I'm just like, this dude was built for that. That's where he needs to be. Yeah, even Brittany Baker, I do feel like she belongs right there, to be honest. Yeah, there's a lot of individuals. They fit in a certain place, man. Guys, that's what hour and a half, perfect. That's exactly where I want to end this one, guys. So I talked about Dijak, Johnny Gargano in the tag division, TK criticism, and Jack Perry basically becoming the new CM Punk. We talked that. We talked the Raw preview. Hunter Hearst Helmsley on Brock Lesnar, Netflix wanting. And we'll get Brock Lesnar. So we covered a lot in this hour and a half, guys. I appreciate it big time, man. We'll do this again real soon, possibly tomorrow for the Raw review. It would be cool if I can deck out some time to go live. And hopefully we have the issues that we had earlier with the audio and the visual. Hopefully that's corrected by YouTube. So that's the hope anyway. If I can do that review live, I will. If not, I'm going to have to record it really early, and you guys will get it by roughly noontime, a pre-record. But you guys will have a Raw review. This is the go-home show for SummerSlam 5 nights away. Appreciate you guys big time, man. Go about your biz and whoop Monday's ass. Until next time, and there will be that next time. Top Guys, we're out. BC in the unit saying check you. Peace. Salute. Olympic size 75 yarder, guys. Here we go. 75 yards. Let's go. Farther than that.